Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. We are releasing these predictions a day too late, but UFC Fight Night, Edwards versus Brady is happening soon, and we are going to discuss who's gonna win, basically, and who's gonna lose, according to me. So this seems like a pretty stacked card overall. I'm pretty pleased with the fights we're gonna see here. Let's begin with Guram Kutateladze versus Kaue Fernandes. I will say, the odds on this fight are pretty crazy. I feel like they should be closer. Like, you know, minus 425 and plus 330 is, like, Guram is solid, okay? He's a good striker. We've seen him, you know, have really solid performances with Elvis Brenner, who he almost won against. And again, that guy came back from the dead somehow and, you know, won that fight. I think by that point, like, any normal human must have either gone down, either that or, like, Guram, like, sometimes hard to figure out, like, is Guram Kutateladze just lacking some KO power, or is Elvis Brenner just made of a different type of DNA? And then Kaue Fernandes, on the other hand, just had his fight with Muhammad Yahya. Muhammad Yahya kind of sucks, guys. We knew this. Like, you know, Saudi Arabia just needed a guy, you know, from their team. But yeah, Kaue Fernandes in that fight basically just ended up kicking him at a distance up until he dropped him with a right hand and just got a KO. So I don't know, I wouldn't say that was like the most impressive of wins, although the fact that he could, you know, kind of kick his way to a victory at a distance until he caught it. Guram was pretty durable though, guys. He's like a Georgian mountain troll, but like, you know, human size. Like, even the way he moves, that's the one thing, is he kind of moves in like slow motion sometimes. That's what it seems to me. But overall, I would say he's definitely the more experienced fighter here. I can't imagine that Kaue is just going to, like, drop this guy the same way he dropped Muhammad Yahya. I mean, we saw Muhammad Yahya, like, definitely a little bit more of a flimsy vibe. Guram Kutateladze does not give off flimsy vibes at all. He's quite solid and grounded. I think that it just makes more sense for Guram to win by decision here. Yeah, overall. But I could also see, like, Kaue Fernandes catching Guram with something. Because, again, I think that Guram is, like, a little bit slow overall. Moves a little bit in slow motion. I mean, that's fine, but yeah. I mean, overall, it does make more sense, I think, for Guram to win. But, again, I will confirm with you guys when I see both of their energies on Friday. So, for now, it's Guram. Next, let's move on to Nathan Fletcher versus Caolan Loughran. Loughran? So I feel like Caolan Loughran has an output problem, guys. Like, I was watching back his fight with Jake Hadley and just waiting for him to do something. And he lost that fight to decision, of course. I just feel like with that kind of build, where he's got like a really big head, overall a lot of surface area to hit, like quite stocky, you gotta do what Chepe Mariscal does and just grind your way forward, you know what I mean? Because he's not an effective boxer. Like, he's just not. He couldn't, like, close the distance in that fight. I just feel like when you're built like that, you basically, you should just grapple, because you look strong. Probably are very strong, but yeah, it's just not, you're just not quick enough on the feet. I feel like he just never really, like, he just couldn't get anything going. And in the Jake Hadley fight, he only decided to, like, grapple once at the end of the second round, which, yeah, didn't really go anywhere. Yeah, overall, Loughran just doesn't give me winning vibes, to be honest. And I just don't think he's picked the right technique for his build. And again, someone like Nathan Fletcher, who's like solid and well-rounded, like, this is not gonna fly. I don't think this is gonna fly. All right, let's move on to Shauna Bannon versus Puja Tomar. This fight. So Puja Tomar just got a split decision win over Rayan dos Santos, which was her debut in the UFC, which honestly also to me looked like she lost. She was losing on the feet the whole time up until the judges decided that she won, which is, I guess, okay. She did have some good leg kicking moments in that fight, But I guess the UFC really wanted an Indian fighter. So that was that, the female Indian fighter. I feel like you could just tell that Puja just doesn't quite have enough experience yet. You can tell she has a lot of heart, you know, and yeah, it just looks like she doesn't quite know what she's doing out there. Even like the way she's built, like it seems like she is quite new. I mean, we'll see what she looks like on Friday. Maybe she improved a whole bunch. But most of what she did in that fight with Santos was just shoot these like gut kicks. Kicks to the gut. So I know. And Shauna Bannon, she doesn't have like this passionate energy, you know, that Puja Tomar has. But she is the daughter of like a family that owns an MMA gym. And, you know, she probably didn't know what to do with her life. And they insisted, hey, do MMA, we'll help you out. This is the vibe I'm getting from her, probably, because this is exactly what happened. But she definitely fights as if she's waiting for her mom and dad to, like, you know, give her instructions. Definitely does not seem like she gives a fuck. So yeah, it's difficult, but at the same time, I do think she has a little bit more training, a little bit more experience than Puja Tomar. In her fight with Alice Ardelian, she did have some good combinations. It's just that she looked so bad doing them, you know, like so bad shooting them, like very sloppy situation. But I think I'm still gonna side with Shauna because, I mean, I could also, like, Puja wants it more. That's the thing. I feel like Puja definitely wants it more. And Shauna Bannon, like, it's hard for me to pick someone who I feel like is just not going to try as much as the other one. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fight Shauna Bannon could win, theoretically. But, like, Puja Tomar, we saw how, you know, how much she cares about this. So I might actually go with Puja Tomar. I actually initially picked Shauna Bannon, but I'm looking at this photo of both of them on the UFC page, and I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Puja Tomar. Fuck it. Going with Puja Tomar. Okay, guys, let's move on to the next one. Christian Leroy Duncan versus Andrey Pulyaev. So, we've only seen Andrey on the Contender Series, where he was fighting a dude that wasn't that great of a striker from what I saw. And I think CLD is going to be a bit more of a problem for him, especially since he's quite effective at fighting at the distance. Like, he doesn't need to get too close. And another thing is Andrey is 2 inches taller, but has like half an inch of a reach disadvantage in both his legs and his arms. So, very awkward. And I noticed that because of this, when he stands in the octagon, he like has to balance out his like center of gravity a little bit, and he's always like hunched, and it just feels wrong. Like, it just feels like having a long torso like that compared to your limbs when you're a kickboxer is just not an advantageous thing. Anyways, I think like with this natural awkward disposition on the feet, not like a good position to be in against Christian Leroy Duncan. Christian Leroy Duncan's pretty solid on the feet. Like, I just feel like the fact that he just came off the Contender Series, nothing about this right now is giving me like, oh, this guy's gonna win vibes. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go with Christian Leroy Duncan, guys. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I'm actually really excited for this one because I do think it could go either way, but I'm actually going to side with, okay, first of all, the fight. Marcin Tybura versus Mick Parkin. I'm actually going to side with Marcin Tybura, however you pronounce that. Tybura. I'm siding with Tybura. And here's the thing with Mick Parkin, right? I don't think we've seen him fight against anyone who's had a submission threat, right? His last fights were okay, you know. He fought Lucas Bresky. That guy is like an okay kickboxer. Let's just put it that way. Muhammad Usman, that guy had negative fight IQ. I mean, so did Lucas Bresky, to be honest. The thing is, though, with Mick that I've noticed is he has really good fight IQ. Like, he's able to study his opponent in that first round and basically like change his approach based on what's happening and what's unfolding. And he's just able to adapt really well, like during the fight, which is really solid. It really is. But the thing is, I just feel like Marcin Tybura has faced better competition. Like, Alexander Volkov took him to a decision. I think he lost that fight with Volkov, but still, like, Volkov is really good on the feet. Like, we saw what he did with Sergey Pavlovich, right? I just feel like, I don't know if Mick Parkin is on that level yet, especially, yeah, like, I just, Lucas Bresky and Mohamed Usman are not top tier competition, I just feel like Tybura can reach for his grappling in this fight if he needs to. I don't think he's gonna make that same mistake that he made in like the Sergey Spivak fight, where he just got himself accidentally submitted. I think with an armbar. Usually, like, fighters are more like sometimes I feel like sometimes fighters forget to be present, and it takes some moment like that for them to realize, and not repeat that same mistake again. So I don't think that. I just feel like Marcin Tybura is in a better position, in this fight. The only thing is, I know he's 39, and that is a little bit sus, but I do think he has more experience, and I think in this fight just makes more sense. I just think it makes more sense for him to win. Like, I think Mick Parkin is solid overall. Like, I've been really impressed with his performances. He has not disappointed. It's just that he's facing like a really tough Polish guy who is, not going to fold like that so easily. He has much better brain than Lucas Bresky, so we're going to move on now from this one to okay, let me drop that actually. Let's move on to Loughran Kavanagh versus Felipe dos Santos. Interesting name, Loughran Kavanagh. Kavanagh looks like he spent some time in the gym, guys. He looks so massive for the division. Like, I don't know, I've been watching his fights and comparing his build to everyone else, and like, he just looks so huge. I don't know, compared to them. Like, he's quite dense, Anyways, he's actually 8-0, and regardless of like whether he's better or worse than Felipe dos Santos, he's gonna be so much bigger than him. I just feel like dos Santos is going to struggle getting anything going. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like Kavanagh is gonna be in the driver's seat the whole time. Like, I don't know how he's so much bigger than these other dudes in flyweight, but he looks like he'll just basically push you over, like run through you. I just feel like this is one of those ones where strength will beat any sort of skill from the other side, because the dude is just bigger and stronger. It's like, when you try to fight your siblings, it doesn't matter how good they are. If you're bigger than them, then sometimes there's not much you can do. Okay, let's move on to the next one, guys. Jai Herbert versus Cris Padilla. Jai Herbert loves keeping his hands so low. It's his favorite thing. He keeps his hands low and he eats shots to the face. I don't know why he does this, because he could easily just put his hands up, but he chooses to take the damage instead. In his fight with Rolando Bedoya, he was the one that finished with a battered face, and he still won somehow, actually. He won that fight. I actually skipped through that fight as I was watching it, and the whole time I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Rolando Bedoya is definitely, being the dominant one. I think the live odds were also favoring him. It looked like he was doing more damage overall. And then it went to the end and they lifted Jai Herbert's hand, and I was like, oh. I didn't realize I wasn't watching the same fight. But he won. I think it was a split decision. I don't know. All I saw was he was getting fucked up. Literally, Rolando Bedoya's face was fine by the end of it. Jai Herbert's face mildly deconstructed. And so, I actually really like Cris Padilla as a fighter. The only thing I'm worried about here is the reach and height discrepancy. Because Cris Padilla is quite a defensive fighter. I notice he doesn't like to get too close. So with like a reach disadvantage, this might be more difficult for him, especially if he just ends up getting like pushed back. But at the same time, I'm not really too concerned about him like getting knocked out or anything. Like, I think he'll be fine. I also don't think he's going to take that much damage. Like, I just feel like he might actually just Rob Font his way through this one. You know how, like, Rob Font just protects his head and kind of, like, marches forward and just jabs his way to victory. But yeah, I think if he can close the distance, he can win. Because I think he's the better fighter overall, and he can defend himself from attacks much more effectively than Jai Herbert. And, you know, look at what Cris Padilla did to Rong Zhu's eyeball. Like, that, he won that fight because the doctor was like, yo, Rong Zhu, let me take a look at your eye. Like, that's not okay. If I remember, I'll insert a picture because, it was pretty intense. But, yeah, so we know he can hit pretty hard, right? We know he has power. And we've also seen Jai Herbert's face fall apart before. Like, these things together are making me believe that Cris Padilla can deconstruct Jai Herbert physically. He might succeed, you know? So I'm gonna take a gamble with Cris Padilla. I just think that, like, his chances here are pretty solid. The only thing that I see happening here, like, literally the only way I see Jai Herbert winning is if he just, like, fucking manages to pressure his way to a decision like he did last time somehow. But picking Cris Padilla, guys. Let's move on to the next one. Nathaniel Wood versus Morgan Charriere. I think this is going to be a dope fight, guys. I think this is going to be a great fight. They're both very well-rounded. But I'm actually going to be siding with Morgan Charriere because I think he's stronger and less breakable. We saw Morgan Charriere in his fight with Chepe Mariscal. Super solid fight. He did a lot of damage, lost via split decision, but he looked super solid overall. Honestly, like, he didn't let a guy like Chepe Mariscal run through him, and also, like, was, you know, did his own work on the feet, which was great. And Nathaniel Wood just had his last fight with Daniel Pineda. He did pretty well, dropped him several times, put on a pretty dominant performance. I just don't think that, again, Morgan Charriere is going to fold like this the same way that Daniel Pineda did. Again, we saw that Chepe Mariscal tried and didn't really succeed. So, I mean, you know, he did more than him than Charriere in that fight to win. But I just don't think that Morgan is that soft, you know. Also, another thing I noticed on Nathaniel Wood's record is that he lost to Mohamed Naimov in 2023. Not that long ago. And honestly, that's not the best loss, if you know what I mean. Not the best loss. So if he lost to Mohamed Naimov in 2023, I feel like he's definitely going to lose to Morgan Charriere now. Like, I don't really, like, believe in Mohamed Naimov all that much, and especially in 2023. Yeah, I feel pretty solid about that. Morgan Charriere. Let's move on to the next one, guys. Jordan Vucenic versus Chris Duncan. I had a Serbian friend in high school whose last name also ended in IC, and she said that it was pronounced itch. Though I've heard most people pronouncing it ick. Vucenic, whatever. Okay, let's get back to the fight. So, damn, Vucenic looks good. That's what DC was saying about Jordan Vucenic, whatever, in his last fight with Guram Kutateladze. And, yeah, he looked solid. I think that was, like, a performance nobody expected from him. So maybe some people did, I did not. And you know what? I've been peeping his YouTube channel, by the way. He looks solid. Like, he looks like he's been training hard. He's been also mentioning that he's improved so much since that last performance. He also seems incredibly inspired and like he wants to inspire others also. And you can feel that in his energy, you know. He also has kids, by the way, and he's talking constantly about making them proud, and that he wants to show them that he was one of the best UFC fighters at the time, you know. So I'm getting a lot of green flags overall from Jordan Vucenic. And then, you know, Chris Duncan, on the other hand, he's pretty good too. Very powerful, but I'm just not sensing the same kind of energy that Vucenic has right now. And also, I just saw interviews from both of them. on the Inside Fighting channel. And there's like a real difference between them. Like Jordan Vucenic looks super fresh and like animated and like ready to go, even just like sitting on the sofa there. And Chris Duncan kind of looks like, you know, a bit hungover and a little bit drained, you know, overall. So I don't know. It's hard for me to pick a guy that's sitting there like, yeah, versus a guy who's just like like he looks so fast. Even I was like, am I watching this? Has this been sped up? Like the interview felt like it was sped up. Anyways, yeah, I just feel like Jordan Vucenic gonna be much faster than Chris Duncan. Huge advantage there. And if he says that he's been training hard and improved significantly since the last fight, like I just feel like this is a really solid pick, Jordan Vucenic. So, all right, let's move on to the next one. Molly McCann versus Alexia Thainara. So my initial thought about this fight was, oh, Alexia is coming off of the Contender Series, so this might be, you know, a favorable thing for Molly. And then I watched said Contender Series fight, and Alexia looked so mean. Like, she looked like a mean, strong man. She looked like she brought all of her demons from her present and past life to that octagon. Yeah, she looked extremely intimidating. And I just feel like this is one of those ones where Meatball Molly would have had to like get abandoned by her dad to like have the same kind of motivation and energy, you know, yeah, for this one. So, and I picked, you know, Meatball Molly last time and was kind of disappointed. Like she's okay. She's definitely gotten more fit. Again, I just feel like she is in this for a different reason, maybe, than Alexia is. I don't know what her family situation is like, but she, you know, Alexia definitely looks like everyone left her, and now she has UFC. So, anyways, that's that. Let's move on to the next one. Gunnar Nelson versus Kevin Holland. I'm kind of concerned, guys, for Gunnar Nelson's style of keeping his hands low, like Bobby Green. Because Kevin Holland can catch him with something on the feet. But I was looking at his record, and, you know, he didn't get knocked out by Leon Edwards, lost to a decision, managed to avoid getting caught in that one. Also, I just feel like Kevin hasn't really had the most inspiring record as of late. And he's also not the best on the ground. So, like, basically, what are the chances of Kevin Holland catching Nelson with something in this fight? I would say like 35%. And what are the chances of like Kevin Holland getting pretzeled on the ground? I would say much higher, honestly. So I'm gonna go with Gunnar Nelson just because yeah, if he doesn't get caught with anything, I think he's gonna win. So, and I don't know, Kevin Holland just doesn't seem to really give a fuck these days. So let's move on to the next one, the co-main event, Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg. So, guys, the only thing that concerns me about Jan Blachowicz in this fight is that he's 42. He's 42. That's pretty old, okay? He hasn't fought since July 2023, but I will say he has fought tougher competition than Carlos Ulberg. He lost a split decision to Padilla. And his fight with Magomed Ankalaev went to a draw. Okay? Which means he actually did better than Pereira against Ankalaev. So is Carlos Ulberg like in the same level as Pereira and Ankalaev? I don't think so. And Jan Blachowicz actually handles himself really well. He's really good at timing himself, which I actually think makes his age less relevant because he doesn't, like, output isn't what he relies on. He just needs to, like, he's able to kind of channel his energy very effectively. And I was just looking, like, Carlos's best win, like, his last few fights have been, like, his best win is against Volkan Ozdemir. And before that, he won against Alonzo Menefield and Ihor Poterya. So like those two are like to me don't count. So the only one is Volkan Ozdemir. Is Volkan Ozdemir in the same level as Ankalaev and Pereira? I don't know. I don't think so. I think both of them would beat Ozdemir any day. So yeah, I just think that Jan Blachowicz is like a few levels above at this point, and even though he's 42, I think he's still solid. So yeah, I'm picking him. Let's move on to the next one, the main event, guys. Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady. Again, I think this is one of those ones. So Leon Edwards has faced better competition, guys, than Sean Brady. Sean Brady just won against Richie Martinez and Gilbert Burns. I actually didn't see the Richie Martinez fight, but like, okay. And Kelvin Gastelum lost against Bilal Muhammad in 2022. Leon Edwards has only lost against Bilal Muhammad. We all saw what happened in that one. But yeah, that was his only loss. And he lost, I think, just because he severely underestimated Bilal and like chose not to prepare adequately for that fight. And you know, Bilal wanted the belt a lot. Sean Brady is pretty quick from what I've seen, you know. He's like a little power ball. He's got a lot of he's got a lot of power and energy. I just feel like Leon is pretty good on the feet. Leon primarily likes to shoot straight shots. So I think this will allow him to stay at a pretty good distance from whatever Sean Brady is going to try and pull. Like, overall, I don't think that Sean Brady is going to be pulling a Bilal and trying to, like, pick Leon Edwards up like a child and fucking smash him on the ground a million times. Like, I just don't think that's going to happen here, you know what I mean? And because that's not going to happen, I feel like Leon Edwards is going to win, you know what I mean? I just don't think that we're going to see the same kind of, like, situation that we saw with Bilal. That's probably why he's an underdog, because people were like, oh my god, Leon Edwards lost his aura, and he kind of did in that Bilal fight. But again, like, I think that was his shitty mistake. I don't think he's gonna repeat it again. I mean, everyone was believing in him back then, so yeah. I just feel like, especially after a fighter comes off like such an embarrassing loss like that, they come back stronger. So yeah, I'm going with Leon Edwards. I think it makes more sense. I think he has more experience and he's fought better competition, so I can rely on him more. Anyways, guys, that's all. I feel like this video is kind of all over the place, but nonetheless, thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought about my opinions. And if you think that I'm wrong or right, let me know. And I guess I'll just do this outro for this video. If you like this video, do hit the like button and maybe subscribe also if you feel like it. And yeah, some days I'm just like, the awkwardness levels are so high, guys. Anyways, that's all. Thank you for coming and watching this video. And yeah, I'm gonna see you on Friday for the vibe picks. And yeah, I keep wanting to like make other videos other than these prediction ones, and then I just get so distracted. So anyhow, yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.